Welcome back and good day everyone. Today we're going to analyze the beam skills and routine of Olesya Dudnik from Ukraine, but back then she competed for the Soviet Union. Olesya had her big break in the gymnastics world in 1989 at the American Cup. Later that year she'd compete in the 1989 World Championships. Her tumbling skills on the beam were ahead of their time and she did them seemingly comfortable and consistent. In the time between the American Cup and the 89 World Championships, I noticed a lot of improvement in her transitions in between her tumbling skills on beam. She was more elegant and moved with more intention and confidence. In general, she matured a lot as a performer. I competed in this World Championships that were held in Stuttgart, Germany, and I saw beam finals. She did an incredibly solid and uniquely difficult routine, but unfortunately, just like Yang Bo from China in the very same competition, she stumbled forward on her dismount. Still, she got a silver medal on the beam due to her uniquely high difficulty. Just a note, I've done a video analysis of Yang Bo already, and I'll leave that link to the video in the description. This is Ekatarina Vandisheva. She has a very similar style to Dudnick, and I would say that Ekatarina has more flexibility and extension than Dudnick, but Dudnick has more difficulty in her routine. She did fall here, but it's a really cool skill how she swings her leg through the bottom and creates momentum to go into her turn. In training, she did it perfectly. This is from 1993. Ekaterina had a very short career and she had to retire due to a fracture in her arm. They are both extraordinary beam workers. Let's get started with her analysis. Dudnick does a round-off back layout step-out onto the beam. The more symmetrical her arms are, the more she's on balance as gymnasts use their arms for micro-adjustments during their skills. She spots the beam with very even arm position. She was really consistent on this mount. They both mount out of a round-off, but Ekaterina does a very long, difficult series right off the start. Round-off back handspring onto the beam, back handspring to two step-out layouts. That's great work. Getting her hands on the beam quickly allows her a small amount of time to adjust before her series. Dudnick simply spots the beam and prepares for a comfortable landing. We can see Ekaterina adjust her arms in the air to keep her centered over the beam. This happens incredibly fast, very nicely done. This is Dudnick's very rare and nicely done round-off layout full, or back layout with a full twist. She was so consistent with this and made it look so easy. This skill alone set her apart from many of the other competitors. When we look from the top, we can see she initiates the twist and her body is slightly turned, but she keeps her center of gravity directly over the beam. She also spots the floor very clearly here. The nice thing about a full is you can see the ground, or in this case the beam, below you almost the entire time during the skill. She controls the landing very well. Another series is her side aerial into two layout back step outs. Doing the side aerial before the two layouts makes the layouts much more difficult to square up, so it's a very difficult combination. Nice flexibility as she sets up. She sees the beam the whole time during the skill and gets her foot down very quickly to help set up and square off for her next two back layout step outs. As we can see, her legs are a bit loose and slightly bent here, but later that same year at the 89 World Championships, she cleaned up her form and did the series much better. You can also see she's not as straddled in her flips, and this tells me she's a bit stronger and higher as she jumps back into her layout step outs, which gives her more time in the air. In both competitions, she manages her balance very consistently. Well done. Let's take a look at her split leaps and flexibility. If she had any category that was not ideal on beam, I would say it was her leap series. When we compare Dudnick and Yang Bo, who's extremely flexible in her split and split leaps, as we can see here, or when we compare to Ekaterina, who is also very flexible in her leaps and split skills, we can see a noticeable difference. These are extreme comparisons, and side by side, I notice them very much. Watching Dudnick solo, her splits seem to be adequate. Any lack of virtuous execution of her split leaps seems to be overwritten by her extreme level of difficulty and her great execution of some of the most difficult skills in the world. Olesya executed a dismount you don't see that much even these days. It's a triple full or a back layout with 3 twists. Dudnick did her triple full out of a round-off back handspring and she did it very well. The beam is a small area to twist off of and it takes a lot to fit 3 twists into a single flip. But she had to be patient and connect with the beam first or she could miss the beam or miss her punch. She has slightly crossed legs, but she gets to twist around very well and usually sticks this landing or comes very close to sticking her landing. Her rare stumble on her dismount at the 1989 World Championships on her beam dismount was very unfortunate, but definitely not characteristic of her consistency. Also, when we look closer, her feet are very close to the end of the beam. Psychologically, I wonder if she may have been aware of this and out of a microsecond of concern backed off her punch ever so slightly, which may contribute contribute to her lower landing. There's been others to do this dismount as well, like Olympic champion Nastia Liukin, who did it very well. There's also been others to do a layout backflip with a full twist on the beam, like Den Lingling, and she did hers extremely well within a series. Really great work. Dudnick seemed to try to put these unique difficult skills all into one routine. If she hit her beam, she was going to medal, and most likely it would be gold. I believe the beam work of Olesya Dudnik inspired many athletes and helped pave the way for the trends of future generations. I would have loved to have seen Ekatarina Vandisheva's gymnastics develop if she could have avoided injury. She had beautiful lines, great difficulty and elegance in her tumbling series, and so much potential. It was a short career, but much appreciated. If you like videos like this, feel free to like and subscribe, and you'll always be notified each time I post a video. I post 2 or 3 videos each week. Thanks again. Until next time, rock on.